Reading Rainbow is made possible by funding from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by a grant from Kellogg's, who reminds you to take time each day for reading.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
Converse with the universe and let
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and on my way to Robinette's to go see the artist of this book, The Oxcart Man, Barbara Cooney, my car broke down. Let's go have a look. Wow, this is all spaghetti to me. You know, I wish that transportation was as reliable as it was in the Oxcart Man times. Let's go take a look.
Oxcart Man by Donald Hall. Pictures by Barbara Cooney. Read by Matt LeVar Burton. In October, he backed his ox into his cart, and he and his family filled it up with everything they made or grew all year long that was left over. He packed a bag of wool he sheared from a sheep in April. He packed a shawl his wife wove on a womb from yarn spun at the spinning wheel from sheep sheared in April. He packed 5 pairs of mittens his daughter made from yarn spun at the spinning wheel from sheep sheared in April. He packed candles the family made. He packed linen made from flax they grew. He packed shingles he split himself. He packed birch brooms his son carved with a borrowed kitchen knife. He packed potatoes they dug from the garden. But first, he counted out potatoes enough to eat all winter, and potatoes for seed next spring. He packed a barrel of apples, honey and honeycomb, turnips and cabbages, a wooden box of maple sugar from the maples they tapped in March when they boiled and boiled and boiled sap away, he packed a bag of goose feathers that his children collected from the barnyard geese. When his cart was full, he waved goodbye to his wife, his daughter, and his son. And he walked at his oxen's head 10 days, over hills, through valleys, by stream, past farms and villages, until he came to Portsmouth and Portsmouth Market. He sold the shawl his wife made. He sold the bag of wool. He sold 5 pairs of mittens. He sold candles and shingles. He sold maple sugar. He sold a bag of goose feathers. He sold birch brooms. He sold potatoes. He sold apples. He sold honey and honeycomb, turnips and cabbages. Then he sold a barrel that carried the apples. Then he sold the wooden box he carried the maple sugar in. Then he sold the bag that carried the potatoes in. Then he sold his ox cart. Then he sold his ox and kissed him goodbye on his nose. Then he sold his ox's yoke and harness. With his pockets full of coins, he walked through Portsmouth's market. He bought an iron kettle to hang over the fire at home, and for his daughter, he bought an embroidery needle that came from a boat in the harbor that had sailed all the way from England. And for his son, he bought a barlow knife for carving birch brooms with. And for the whole family, he bought 2 pounds of wintergreen peppermint candy. Then he walked home with a needle and a knife and a wintergreen peppermint candies tucked into the kettle, and a stick over his shoulder stuck through the kettle's handle, and coins still in his pockets. Past farms and villages, over hills, through valleys, by streams, until he came to his farm. And his son, his daughter, and his wife were waiting for him. And his daughter took a needle and began stitching. And his son took his barlow knife and started whittling. And they cooked dinner in their new kettle. And afterward, everyone ate the wintergreen peppermint candy. And that night, the ox-cart man sat in front of his fire, stitching a new harness for the young ox in the barn. And he carved a new yoke and sock flanks for the new cart, and split shingles all winter, while his wife made flax into linen all winter, and his daughter embroidered linen all winter. And his son carved Indian brooms from birch all winter, and everyone made candles. And in March, they tapped the sugar maple trees and boiled the sap down. And in April, they sheared the sheep, spun yarn and wool, and knitted. And in May, they planted potatoes, turnips, and cabbages, while apple blossoms bloomed and fell, while bees woke up, starting to make new honey, and geese squawked in the barnyard, dropping feathers as soft as clouds
Man, I wish I had an ox cart like in the story. I would have got here a lot sooner. It took me so long, it's a different season. But let's go inside and go find our artist. Are you Barbara Cooney?
Why, yes, I am.
Really? I expected someone a little bit more feminine.
Yeah, well, I died 6 years ago, so I think I'm looking pretty good.
I think you're getting a little ahead of yourself. Why don't we start this interview by, why don't I ask you, how was your childhood? What was that like?
Well, I was born in Brooklyn in 1917, and I didn't really like it in Brooklyn, so I went out to Maine and stayed with my grandma during the summers. Me and my grandma, we were really close.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How was Maine? Did you like
Maine was good. I got a lot of my story ideas from that.
Oh, that's so nice. Can you tell me how you got interested in drawing for children's books?
Well, I've never really dreamed about doing anything else. You know, I really just enjoy stories. Stories bring joy to children, and it brings joy to me and to the world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, can you just describe to me a little bit of the type of art that you use for your books that you illustrate?
Well, I started with just black and white pictures, just basically to get some sort of pictures in with the story. But I decided that wasn't enough. So I decided to start using the scratch board.
Oh. So what exactly is a scratch board?
Scratch board is a tool that's used to create crisp illustrations that goes really well with fonts in most children's books. It takes a lot of time to do them in color, but I think it's worth the effort.
Cool. Well, that was pretty interesting. Why don't you just tell me a little about the ox cart man?
Well, what would you like to know?
Well, how about, what pictures did you decide to draw for the book? Like, how did you decide what would be a cool picture?
Well, I got the story from the author. He just gave me the words because there was no pictures.
So you're not the author?
No, I'm just the illustrator.
Okay.
And I was just laying in bed one night, and just images were just popping into my head, and then I got the story just deep down in my soul, and the pictures basically just painted themselves.
Lovely. That is, it gets me right here. That is awesome. You know, you are such an inspiration for all those wannabe illustrators.
Yeah, well, I'm not much to brag, but I did win 2 Caldecott awards.
Yeah? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I'm not one to boast. I'm not going to talk about it. But most, you know, there's very few people out there that have ever accomplished such a great feat.
Yeah?
So, yeah, I'm good.
All right.
All right. Yeah, well, that's all the time I got. So, you have fun. Good luck walking back to your car.
You're leaving me? So if you liked Oxcart Man, here are other few books that you might like from the same illustrator. But don't take my word for it.
Hi, my name is Bertha. Have you ever wanted to live on an island or even perhaps sail a boat? Well, I've got the book just for you. The Island Boy is a story about a boy named Matthias. He lived with his family on an island. They all moved into their new home with the 6 boys and the 6 girls, all who lived in the same room except the baby, who slept next to mother and father. Pa taught all the boys to help out with the chores, to hunt, to fish, and even how to handle a boat. They could not all live on the island forever. The girls all moved to get married, and the boys to find jobs. Matthias is a little young, but wants to follow his brothers. He ends up working on a boat built by his uncle called the 6 Brothers. This is just the beginning of the adventure that he would have. If you want to find out the rest, well then you better go grab yourself a copy of this book.
Hi boys and girls, this is Roberto. I want to tell you about a wonderful book about a girl who wants to make the world a better place. Alice is a young girl who helps her grandfather in his shop. One day, Alice listens to her grandfather tell stories of faraway places and of living by the sea. Alice decides that she also wants to go to faraway places and then live by the sea. Her grandfather makes her promise one thing, that she must also make the world a better place. Alice grows up and does many different things. She worked at a library, went to a tropical island, climbed high mountains, and even rode a camel. Then she decides that it was time for her to go and live by the sea. But Alice wasn't totally happy. She remembered that she still had to make the world a better place. How did she do this? Get a copy of the book and find out for yourself.
Have you ever been tricked by somebody and felt really bad about it? My name is Bobby, and I've been made a fool of too, just like one of the characters in this book. Chanticleer is a rooster who thinks he's the king of the barnyard. Little did he know that in the near future he would be outsmarted by a fox, and finds himself in a very interesting situation. He is stuck between the ferocious teeth of the fox and no way to get out. The ending of this book is quite a surprise, but in order for you to find out, you must read it for yourself. Next time your brother or sister tries to be extra nice to you, you better watch it. It might be a trick.
Wow, we had quite the adventure today. On the way to go see the illustrator of the Boxcar Man, my car broke down, and that wasn't fun. But we learned that in the olden days, transportation was much more reliable. I'll see you next time.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading